It's feeling very positive, very buoyant, if you will, because let's face it, it's an empowering environment for women and, frankly, for anybody in aviation.
It is. You can really feel the energy here, and it's very neat because there's a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of opportunity. You heard me talking to Olga from Russia. You can definitely feel the energy here.
But it wasn't always this way, was it?
No, not at all. And I've been coming to Women in Aviation since they had their first conference 21 years ago, I guess it is. Great opportunity here is the doors are wide open for women. I mean, wide open, the networking, and the opportunities are just vast.
What changed it? I mean, I look at what has occurred over the years to the folks that I've worked with in the industry, and the gender bias that obviously exists. Let's face it, this was the old boys club.
Well, it sure helps to be power in numbers, and the bigger this conference seems to get bigger every year. But I think being an earlier pioneer of all this back when I was just trying to get an airline job, and I couldn't even get an airline interview because of my indoor plumbing. I mean, and I know that sounds funny and people, but it's a nice way of saying it. But I think now it's the power in numbers, the opportunities, the sponsorships. People see the value in it now, and I tell young women now it's to their advantage to be of the female gender. But I can't tell you how the evolution happened. It just happened. You know, it just evolved. But I think it evolved through organizations like this that became an empowering organization, so strong.
I had a nice time over the holidays. I have this little niece who just turned 8 years old, and she's playing in the Cirrus and loves the airplane and loves the idea of aviation. And it's nice to look at her fascination with this and realize that now, like no other time in the past, she can do anything she wants. What advice would you give to a young woman looking at aviation, you know, stars in her eyes, head in the clouds? What advice do you give her now?
And it's funny you say that because I have grandkids now that are 3 and 7. And you're right, they have stars in their eyes. Or I see this every weekend at air shows. Every weekend they come and the kids will just almost stare at me. They don't really want to talk to me. In fact, the minute I start talking to them, then they all of a sudden get really shy and they put their head down. And they think, oh, Julie Clark is talking to me. But the truth is, start young. And if this is really what they want to do, their passion will lead the way. And the doors are wide open. You don't have to bolt down any doors. And you don't have to sit there and say, I can do this. Just give me the opportunity. Just let me do this. The opportunities are there. And they can prove themselves. And just show them that they can do it. And they can.
If you own a Cirrus today, or if you are considering the purchase of a new or used aircraft, consider this. Avidine, in conjunction with the country's leading Cirrus sales and maintenance facilities, has launched the G3R9 program that combines the purchase of a late model, low-time Cirrus aircraft and the addition of the Avidine Integra Release 9 avionics suite for much less than you may have thought, and certainly much less than purchasing a brand new aircraft. G3R9, combining the best airframe, best engine, and best avionics for the best value.
Are we finally at a point of parity? Is there still any bias out there?
I don't think so. I don't think so. And it's interesting. I just went to a FERC just to renew my flight instructor rating, and they're saying this kind of shocked us. There's only I think they said 85,000 flight instructors out there, and most of us don't exercise the working at an airport at an flight school. So dwindle that down to less than 50%. But we need more pilots. Their opportunities are not only there, but the squares are there, and we need the slots filled. So that in itself, I was trying to become an airline pilot right after the Vietnam War. So all these guys are getting out of the military, and nobody wanted to hire their first woman, let alone interview their first woman. So that I keep looking at, not only was my timing wrong, but the fact that I was in such a minority. But now the timing is good for slots available, and I was just seeing something on CNN, hate to quote a news thing about the number of women going to college now far outweighs how many men are going to college. How many men are actually enrolled to college? It was almost like 2 to 1. It was an unbelievable ratio. So the opportunity for women, we're out. Watch out.
Are you basically saying you're smarter than we are?
No, we're just saying that I think...
I'm not going to argue with you.
Yeah, they were talking about how more men are staying home, watching TV, playing video games on the couch, and the women are out there trying to get college degrees. I'm only saying what I heard on the But anyway, the women out there, they just seem to have the drive, and they want to, and if they have the drive, they'll make it happen because the slots are there to be filled. And there's not a gender war going on anymore. I think that's just old school.
among my staff and the women that I work with, you are a hero to many of them. They look at you as somebody that they look up to. Who are your heroes as you came up through the ranks in aviation?
You know, the only air show I ever went to before I became an air show pilot was watching the Blue Angels. I was in college, but I was down at Santa Barbara, but I came home for the weekend, went to Moffett Field, and I watched the Blue Angels and Bob Hoover. And it's only because Bob Hoover was out there doing his thing in the Shrike and the P-51. But other than that, my dad was my hero, and we all know my story about that. But he was my only hero that I knew I could ever go flying with. Mm-hmm. And my first flying lesson ever was my first time ever in a small plane, and it was in a little Cessna 120, and that was the first time I'd ever been in a small airplane. So I didn't have that except for my dad until he died, and I was only 14.
Cirrus Design's Vision SJ50 single-engine personal jet offers exceptional fuel efficiency, flexible seating for up to 7, advanced avionics, and all the Cirrus safety features you expect, including the Cirrus airframe parachute system. With its V-tail design, the Cirrus Vision is technologically advanced, yet engineered to be simple to fly, to allow owner pilots more lifestyle pursuits than any other personal aircraft. Learn more about the Vision SJ50 at cirrusdesign.com.
One of the things I've noticed here in particular, there's an incredible military contingent. Women, I mean, and we're not talking about women who are out here as mechanics. We're talking pilots, fighter pilots, transport pilots, helo pilots. They're everywhere. As a matter of fact, aren't you all taking over?
Well, you know what's interesting? I was just pointing out to a friend of mine as we're walking through, I don't know what day they have here where they all wear their uniforms, but in the old days here at Women in Aviation, we walked around in our uniforms and people would stop and, oh, a woman captain, oh, a female captain. Now, on the day they wear your uniforms, if I wasn't in my flight suit, I'd be in the minority because everybody's in their military or their airline uniforms, and if they're all here to network and help other people that want to be like them. So I'm kind of the third generation? Yikes. Is that scary? Let's see, or second generation.
Doesn't matter. You've been an inspiration to so many, and I have no doubt that there's hundreds here on the floor who at one point or another have watched you fly and been inspired.
I hope so. I tell people I'm not getting older, I'm just getting more seniority. So.
What's the future for women in aviation? At this point, is the gender difference just going to disappear and it's just going to become an industry where pilots are going to be judged by their accomplishments and not whether or not they use the men's or the ladies' room?
I have a feeling that you're right there, but I think that women in aviation in general always have its place because women, we just love to network. We don't care if you're talking about what kind of baby bottle is the best use or whatever you're talking about, or what kind of glass cockpit am I flying, or what's the best type of glass to fly. But we empower ourselves through talk. Women are much more vocal. We're much more open book, if you will, than I think men are. And I'm not going to say it's a male ego thing, because that was the problem way back when I was trying to be hired with the airlines in the mid-'70s. Oh my God, nobody would even want to talk to Julie Ames. I was a Julie Ames like that. And I think women will always network no matter what it is we're talking about. It's just the way we are. It's our gender.
Well, and it's a very positive thing here, because the one thing I've noticed is there's always been an attitude of inclusion. I mean, I'm a guy walking around here. I'm a minority. Yeah. Really cool. But the best part is it's never been an issue. I mean, everybody here is being positive, is focused on aviation, and the one thing they want to know is, are you a flyer? Do you love aviation? Do you have a role in this? And if so, great. Yeah.
And that's true. Women, we bring in anyone. I mean, you're right. It doesn't matter if you're a male or female walking around. We're not like the QBs. Now, I love the QBs. I've flown a lot of private air shows for them, but I land and go, Julie, thanks for the free air show. There's your airplane. We're having a barbecue now, but you can't stay. And we'd love to see you take off now. Hey, see you guys, And I'm just bringing that up. I don't care if you use that in here. Yeah, but no, women, it's a networking here. I keep using that word, but it's so true because women are just so much more an open book. It's just the way we are.
Well, God bless, and we thank you so much for all your many, many contributions.
Thanks, Jim.